It's Jessica Capshaw. By the way, my intro should have been, okay, someone's about to come here whose father basically is the only father figure I've ever known in my life. And we've known each other since we were, how old were we?
Oh, I want to say seven or eight.
I remember when I went to visit, okay, so the man we're talking about is Steven Spielberg and her mom is Kate Capshaw. And I remember going to like the Temple of Doom set in London.
I remember that too. And I feel like you and I had parallel experiences in that we learned so young that the hair and makeup trailer was where all the fun stuff happened.
Yes.
And that you could transform and that all of a sudden you would be in this different world, and this world was rich with all this story and excitement, and there was something that just felt so like thrilling about every minute.
I remember one time when we used to talk about how weekends on with your kids was like more exhausting than like a day at work, and I didn't understand that, and now I understand it so much. You're so right.
Yeah. Well, there's two parts of that, right? There's like the dirty little secret, which is that I would shamelessly accept so many compliments on how winningly I was managing having 4 children and a job, and how did I do that, and how did I balance everything? And I would think, dirty little secret, going to work is easy. Going to work is filling up my cup. It's making me feel creative. Quite frankly, I don't have to get anyone anything to drink or eat while I'm there. And then the number 2 was that I couldn't believe that people actually would be hopefully expectant about the weekend when those were my 2 hardest days.
How do you find an in with talking to your kids? Where do you find the balance of like truth? Where do you want to put bumper rails in? How do you talk to your kids like in general, but of course this week?
Yeah. Well, I think jumping off point, because I know you and I share her, and I think she's just such an incredible resource. I think that Ms. Pressman and her podcast is sort of unbelievable.
Well, and Dr. Eliza is on this show earlier, so yeah.
I feel like she operates from a very neutral position of meeting your kids where they're at, right? So I have a 4-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 13-year-old. It's not the same conversation. It's a different kind of conversation. What I get back from my kids is how much they're looking at the friction. They're looking at like when people disagree, how do they handle it? And kids want to make it really simple. They want to make, they want to make one thing good and one thing bad. For the past, weeks, it's just been such a fever pitch of someone supporting this campaign, someone supporting that campaign. And I've been trying really, really hard to role model that the differences are okay as long as you can talk about them. But it's tough. It's really tough right now.
I was interested because you've always been that person who was like, yep, raising kids is really hard. You'll find work days actually much easier and simpler, or this or that. And you've been right about so many of those things.
Well, but I mean, I also I feel like the thing about that is that, again, in the balance column of life where people sort of go, how do you balance? I always think, well, it's never a balance. On one day, I could be a phenomenal mother, but I could be a really crappy actress, and vice versa. I might have a day where I'm an incredible actress and I'm so I'm feeling all of the wonderful things that come from it, but I missed, X, Y, or Z when it comes to the kids. And I think that the self-care that I think so many people talk about, especially in these times, is really about figuring out how to be kind to yourself.
The way that you worded that was just so perfect. And you mentioned Miss Pressman, who's Dr. Eliza Pressman, who is a very important friend of the show. We have a segment with her called Ask Eliza, and you can go on our website to learn more about her and raising good humans. It's all there. And you're a very sane person. Like, I don't know if you feel crazy elsewhere, but when I talk to you, it's like, man, I'm just going, yeah, everything she said. And I just was in, the dressing room here going, I didn't get to research that thing. I feel like the worst at my job, but I know I leaned in with my kids and gave them the best Halloween I could ever have given them. And it was so special and such a great memory.
But that gives me goosebumps. Like, I have goosebumps because that's the point, is that this idea that we can all be great at everything is a complete myth. It's just, it's actually not sustainable. You cannot. You will burn out and you'll become someone who you don't even recognize anymore. And I think also I'm noticing, I mean, again, the 4, 8, 10, 13-year-old, I cannot explain how much I have been saying recently how elemental failure is to success, because this needs to be understood. Out of all of the auditions I've ever gone on in my life, I guesstimate that I have gotten the part 0.02% of the time.
Wow.
That's like, I fail mostly. and yet I have an incredible life and I feel super full because the piece that I did get and that I do get is so fulfilling. And I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be 100%, because sometimes 0.02% makes for an incredible life.
See, I am so glad. This is why I love this job, is just to sit down in this chair and have you have the floor, really. And I just love discussing life with you. This was such a beautiful conversation on this most important day. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you, Jessica. Watch Holiday on Netflix. I love you. I'll be texting you in a little bit.